What is going on, my YouTube familia? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. Today I am bringing a topic that was requested through my YouTube sessions. And if you guys don't know, I do have live sessions typically on the weekends on YouTube. So if you'd like to join and participate and just share with your community, actually our community, and just bring that, click that notification button so you can get notifications on your phone, and then you can join us. We share a lot of our experiences and we share with our community. But I did want to talk about something that was interesting and that was brought up regarding medication for anxiety, depression, and even having these panic attacks while suffering from GERD. Because as you guys know, suffering from GERD, anything that you drink and eat can become sensitive to your stomach. And of course, I've had struggles with medication myself, so I would like to get into that and share my experience with you guys. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So I do want to say before getting into the whole video that my anxiety issues and feeling depressed and having these panic attacks and all these issues came more into light once after I started suffering from GERD. I think GERD and the issues of my heart raising and my hiatal hernia, all those issues eventually kind of led to me having anxiety and eventually clinically depressed, I would say. And the reason I say that's because at one point I was tested for anxiety, I was tested for depression, and everything came back mild, but the whole experience did not feel mild to me. As most of you guys have experienced, it's way bigger than what it is. So I just want to say that. But yeah, so getting into it, I think my issues with the anxiety and depression got really bad after my first surgery, after my knee fundoplication. If you guys haven't seen my videos, my prior videos on it, I would recommend you watching them so you can understand the background on this video. But they got really bad. It got to the point where I was literally starting to be fearful of a lot of things and having these issues with anything that came into my mind. Let me tell you how bad my anxiety got to so you can see how bad it was. And this is all because of my health issues that I've been going through. So it got to a point where I would go to school, and the walk from the parking lot to class was around 5 minutes, but it would take me around maybe 15 minutes to get to class, because every 2 or 3 minutes I would have to stop, because I got to a point where if I started walking and I felt my heart rate was going higher, or it will elevate, I will start being fearful and afraid, like, oh my God, I'm feeling these issues happening and I have to stop, I have to slow down. And it would take me that long. And once I got to class, I would sit down on like a bench before I got into class, and my heart rate wouldn't go down. And I'm thinking it's for two reasons. One, of course, because I'm actually going through actual health problems, right? And two, because my anxiety, it's building on those issues, and then it's taking it overboard. And now I'm afraid that I'm in school, and that, what's going through my mind? Oh man, I have to call an ambulance. Oh man, like, who's gonna help me? Like, I don't want to bother my friends and tell them that I'm going through something, because like, I don't want everybody to know in class that I'm going through something. What if something happens to me and I drop that here out of nowhere? I was like, all these issues were just, accumulating, and it got really bad. So it got to a point where I started seeing, from doctors, I started getting these recommendations to go see therapists, and, also to see more doctors so they can prescribe me some type of medication. So let me start off by saying what are the medications that I receive for depression and also for anxiety. Let me get them. I actually have them right here. Oops. So one of the first ones that I got, it's called Prozac, and right next to the name it has fluoxetine. Listen, I'm not a doctor, so I don't understand what what the word next to it means or whatever. I'm guessing it's off like a branch or something of Prozac. I don't know, but that's the one I got, right? So they gave me 20 milligrams, but this is an issue now because now I'm taking this medication, and within the first day or two, I started noticing that I was not able to sleep. Now my mind felt a little bit more relaxed, and to be honest, it actually takes about a week or two, I should say, for the medication to start working. But I felt like it was working, after the first day or two. I'm not sure why. Maybe I wanted it to work. Maybe my mind was playing games and it's like, oh no, since you're going through the motion of taking the medication, you know, maybe you feel like it is helping. I'm not even sure. I think my mind was playing games or whatever. But I do know that at night I started feeling this discomfort on my chest, and I'm like, what did I eat or what did I drink? What happened? And I didn't find out until later, or after I went back to my doctor. And I'm like, I think my medication is bothering me. I think that the fact that I'm drinking this medication is heavy, and it's I can't sleep. My chest literally, it bothers me. I don't know how to explain it. It's like this combination of acid and discomfort, and to be honest, it feels like not so acidic, but it feels like it's something that's just potent that's in there. And I'm like, it's weird. I started doing my research, and in my mind I was thinking like, maybe it's the chemicals, right? Because my stomach is so sensitive to anything now, right? My stomach and my issues are so sensitive to anything that I drink or take, that having external chemicals is just gonna make things worse. The doctor decided to bring the medication down, and for me to start taking it. I think it was before my dinner, one in the morning, and I think the other one, it was before my dinner. I'm not sure how it was, but just a couple hours before I fell asleep to see if it would work. Of course that didn't work, because if I put that medication into my system, even during the day or in the morning, at night I was not going to be able to sleep. It would stay in my stomach, in my system, for the whole day. And this is important because that's where I started figuring it out for myself, and I started taking mental notes that medications were now going to be a problem in my life because of my GERD issues, right? And it seems obvious, but you don't think that a lot of major medications would affect you when it comes to your GERD issues. And for me, maybe a lot of things affect me just because either I'm more sensitive in that aspect, or my issues are just really bad. And most of you guys that have seen my YouTube and my YouTube channel, you guys can see that they're really bad. So, and the reason I even say that with the medication part is because I've taken medication, for example, recently. This was literally a couple of days ago, that I had strep throat. I started taking medications. It was antibiotics, and at night I was not able to fall asleep. I felt huge discomfort in my chest, and I started asking around, like, is strep throat this bad? It's the first time I had strep throat in my life. And I started asking around and going to the Facebook pages and asking, have you guys had similar issues and blah blah. And people came back with like, yo, it's probably the medication. And into my mind again, it clicked, and I was like, oh my god, it could be the medication. That's the reason I can't fall asleep at night. I was literally waking up choking at night. And yes, some of these issues are caused by GERD, but I think the medication makes it worse. I don't know if it makes my LES weaker. I don't know if it's, the acid is being worse because of the medication. It could be a mixture of a lot of things for sure, but I know that medication from now on is bad. So when I'm taking medication for for my anxiety and even my depression, um, I was not able to. So there was no way for me to control my issues and with medication, which sucked because on top of that, I have to deal with GERD, and now I'm dealing with anxiety and depression or whatever. So the next medication they put me on was Enderol, and next to it says propanolol. Listen, I don't know how to pronounce these words, but that's what and it was also, again, 20 milligrams. Again, they try to switch me up to see if that would help me, to see if that would work, but that was not the case. It didn't work. Again, I had the same issues with my chest and not being able to sleep. I would probably sleep, to give you more insight, probably like 4 to 5 hours at night, because it would take me like 2 to 3 hours to fall asleep because of my issues. So I had to do my research, and I found someone through YouTube, and she told me about a medication that would help her, that was less, it will cause less effect on the stomach. It was easier on people that have GERD, and this is the one that I'm going to tell you. It's called Celexa, right? And next to it says Citalopram, but it's Celexa. That's the name of it, right? So, and it's 20 milligrams. And the reason I bring that last one up, the Celexa, it's because I feel like it was easier on my stomach. I feel like it was working a little bit better for me. But a couple of days in, again, same issues, and same symptoms, and I was not able to go through with it. I think the max that I ever did with the Celexa was probably about a week on medication. So I gave medication a try. It didn't work, and hopefully, the Celexa, for some of you guys that are going through GERD issues and stomach issues and gastro issues in general, maybe it can work for you guys. It's something that I didn't know, that it could be more easier on people that are suffering from gastro issues. So, and again, listen, I'm not telling you to take the medication, because I'm not a professional. I'm just sharing my experience. But it kind of sucked at that point where I was trying to give medication a try. And look, I'm the type of person that would try at least anything once, right? Especially something that was, supposed to help me, or at least help me even be better with stress, because of course stress causes more of your GERD to be, a bigger problem. So I was giving it a try, and unfortunately for me, I'm not able to take medication for anxiety and of course, the depression that I was diagnosed with. Even though they were mild and the stress was mild as well, it was hard for me to start building on that. So so let me tell you how I dealt with it and how I'm dealing with it now, because I'm sure you want to know, like, if you went through all these issues, then what did you do, or what have you done? First of all, I am a man of faith, so I started reading the word. I started having more faith that, fear doesn't come from God, and honestly, fear doesn't come from God. God is love, right? So I started implementing that into my head, and if something were to happen to me, that I'm not afraid of that, because the ultimate fear that I was afraid was obviously death, right? But I decided to, or at least try to not live my life in fear. Doesn't matter what it was, doesn't matter what health issues it is, but I decided to, keep thriving, right? And just, remember that God didn't give you a spirit of fear. He gave you a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. And that's in scripture. So if you really believe that, you really have faith, then, you start putting that fear aside, because the fear is coming from the enemy. It doesn't matter what health issues you're going through, but it is. So I started believing that. I also started taking natural supplements like Pharma-GABA that was recommended by my doctor, to help with, my anxiety and stuff, and to help, control my brain waves and cells and all that. My brain waves and cells and all that. I also started taking magnesium at night to fall asleep and to help me get more sleep, to get more rested, right? Because when you're going through anxieties or a panic attack or an episode or stress, I mean, depression, you name it, your heart, your not your heart, your mind is going 1,000 miles per hour. It's working 1,000 miles per hour. Yo, that was my cousin. That was my cousin. So, but yeah, it's going. You going back to the video? It's going 1,000 miles per it's going, your mind is going all over the place is what I'm trying to say. Your mind is just feel like it's running, and you literally get physically tired. For those of you guys have experienced that anxiety, that worry, that the stress, your mind just gets so tired over maybe one episode. So I started trying to get more sleep. I started trying to exercise afterwards, and what did help me also was the fact that I had my knee fundoplication taken down, I had the mesh taken out, and I had the links implanted, and that just put my anatomy back to a place where it should be. And I started working on myself, and to be honest, to get to the point where I'm at now, it took me about a year. And if I knew that I could have gotten here faster with me believing and having faith and putting that fear aside, I would have done it. But fear and this anxiety and this worry and this stress can really take over your life, and it sucks. And I'm kind of upset at myself that I've given it too much power. But there's nothing I can do about that. But it's a learning progress. It's a learning process, and I'm here to keep learning and growing, and that's what I'm gonna keep doing. And now I know better. And hopefully, if you guys are in that situation, then use my words and use my experience as encouragement, and all of that. Even listen, with my prostate issues, man, it was another battle that I had to go through, because it was a different type of issue. Now I'm dealing with something else. Even with that, there's a lot of fears and worries that came with it, but I'm still trying to put that aside. And as far as my medication comes, and my GERD, there's not a lot of things that I can do regarding that aspect. One of the things that does help me, that I want to add to that, was whenever I get medication, whenever I get something for any symptom, first of all, I ask in a liquid version. Even though the liquid version sometimes is not as effective as like a pill, I still prefer the liquid version. It's easier on your stomach if you're suffering from gastro issues, and my side effects are not as bad. And at night, I'm able to sleep a little bit better. It's just easier overall in general. When I go to hospitals, right? When I go to the ER, sometimes, unfortunately, anything they want to give me, I firstly ask, listen, can you give it to me in liquid version? Can you give it to me through an IV? Do it that way. It's easier for me. It's easier for my body. I can't really do pills. First of all, because of whenever I take a pill, I usually like to eat as well, to have something in there. And then if it's late at night and I'm eating so late, then I'm not gonna sleep, because I'm gonna have GERD and regurgitation throughout the night. So it's like a double-edged sword, you know what I mean? So that's a whole struggle in itself. But that was, in a short story, in a short summary, what I've been through. I'm telling you, I could be here talking all day about these issues and the medication. But hopefully you guys learn something new from this video. Hopefully you guys learn from my experience, and I'm putting it out there for you guys to take it and do as you want. But always take mental notes on what's going on in your life, and hopefully you learn something from my life and what I've been through, so you guys can get to the place where you want to, or at least keep working towards it, right? Because that's all we're trying to do. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for watching my video, for supporting me, for making it this far. And I really appreciate the love, man. I love you guys. Remember to like, subscribe, to share the video. That would be really appreciated, so we can reach more people, because that's one of my goals, is to reach as many people as possible on this channel, and just change lives, man, in any aspect that I can while I'm alive, and make a difference. So thank you guys for all the love and all the support again. I really appreciate you guys, and see you on the next one. Take it easy.